Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, February 11th, and let's take a look at coin market cap and Bitcoin. So coin market cap right now, we're standing at $121.7 billion. So what a change from last week when we were down at 115 billion. So the market really got a nice boost in the past 3 days since we started that run on Friday. The 24-hour volume has also increased quite a bit to $21.1 billion for 24-hour volume. Currently in the top 10, we're just sitting just shy above the neutral point. So we're barely in the red on some coins. Other coins like EOS and BNB, we're a couple of percent above the zero mark, but we're not doing very bad. We have been going sideways all weekend, and that's been allowing the indicators to kind of cool off. We haven't done too bad. On some coins, we have retraced, and we've been trying to do a bounce, but for the most part, we're kind of just sitting there waiting for Bitcoin to decide if it's going to do a BART down or if it's going to continue sideways. So we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Looking at the best performers in the past 24 hours, we're looking at HT at 11.86%. We got KMD at 10.03% and IOST at 9.19%. Let's jump into Bitcoin. It's going to be a little bit different, guys, because I don't usually use TradingView, but I'm going to start using TradingView from now on. I've been having a lot of problems with Coinigy. It's been very buggy, and I'm waiting for their version 2.0 to come out so I can probably switch back to Coinigy. So I'm just trying to get used to using here a trading view. So it's just a little bit of a learning curve. So far, I really like it. I like the fact that I don't have to refresh every 30 seconds, every minute. Every time I change the chart, I would have to refresh the page. And that was getting just really, really frustrating. No matter what browser I use, I would restart my computer every day, clear the cache, do all that kind of stuff. But it's still not working very good. So let's get to it here. On the 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin, as you can see here, we have just been going sideways since we had this run up here, and I believe this was Friday. Yeah, this was Friday. We had this nice little run up. So one of the things about going sideways, what it does is that it does allow the indicators to cool down as if you had a retracement. So normally when we see a run up to the upside, we want to see a retracement back down to 618, 786. That allows the RSI and the MACD to cool off. But like I've always mentioned to you guys, the going sideways has the same effect. It just takes much longer for the indicators to reset. And, obviously we want to see things reset so we can play it back in. But in a bear market, this is the type of patterns that we have to get used to. In a bull market, it's very, very different. We really rely on these fib levels to give us some indication on where it's going to hit for a bounce, and that usually happens within a day or so, or even less than that in a lot of cases in a bull market. It hits the retracement, goes back up, you get your order filled, everyone's nice and happy. But unfortunately, like I mentioned, in a bear market, it's a little bit different. So as you can see here on the MACD, look at this sideways action. It hasn't moved out of this tight range, but yet the MACD has fallen all the way back down here, and even in some areas below the neutral line on the oscillator here, more into the bearish territory. We did have a bullish crossing, but that is just from a small little pumps like this. So there's not much going on right now in Bitcoin. Now this is a very, very familiar pattern for most of us. Usually when we see something like this, we're expecting the BART pattern to come back down and give it all back. That has been the norm. Now, that being said, this is February. Now, February, we've had a discussion in our Discord group, and we did actually a study a few weeks back showing how February historically has always run up right after the Lunar New Year. Sometimes it started right at the Lunar New Year, February 5th. Others have started a couple of weeks after, but nevertheless, the month of February has always given Bitcoin in the past 4 years a run from 40% to 98% historically. So that's what the data shows us. It doesn't mean that it has to happen again, but keeping that study in mind and keeping those numbers in mind, I am not sure if we're going to do the BART down. So I am, I'm right now, because of that, I'm not sure. In any other scenario, I would be expecting the BART pattern down. But so right now, I'm really curious to see if this consolidation and this reset of the MACD is going to allow us to move further for another leg up. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, we're not looking as good on the MACD. So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see here where we have a bearish crossing. The oscillators are coming down. Now, remember, each one of these ticks is 4 hours. So this is going to take a long time. As you can see, the price action is still inside of this tight range, but yet the MACD, just as we did in the 1-hour time frame, is starting to come down, is starting to reset. If we're going to wait for the 4-hour to reset all the way down, it's going to take us at least another day and a half to see this come back down. So we're having the same effect on the MACD, just much longer. If we're going to wait for that retracement of the MACD to come back down here, it's going to take much longer for the sideways action, the price action to happen here. But like I mentioned, hopefully we do see another leg up. We are being held down by, let me get rid of this here. Let me get rid of the, here we go. Let's go to the higher time frames, and let me actually clear the chart here. Well, you know what? I don't want to clear my support right there. Okay, so the 100 EMA is actually right on my resistance line. So we have my resistance lines right here, and we've gotten smacked down here. We're actually back down here to the bottom of this channel. So we've been in this really tight channel. We are above the 9 EMA on the 12-hour time frame, so that's a great place to be. Anytime we're above that 9 EMA, I'm really happy because we're having a good support. The 9 EMA has always been a really good support for price action. Typically, when we see the price action fall below the 9 EMA, especially on these higher time frames, it is much more difficult for it to break through on the higher time frames. That's a really key support. Some people use a 7, some people use the 8, some people use a 10. I find the 9 to be a little bit more accurate. Everyone has a different trading style, so find the one that best suits you and utilize that. For me, like I mentioned, it's the 9. And as a matter of fact, if you look to the left, you can see how much we've struggled to stay above the 9 EMA just in the past few weeks. Finally, we had a nice clear break, but we were stopped here on the 100 EMA on the 12-hour time frame. On the 1-day time frame, the 50 EMA is working like our 100 EMA on the 12-hour time frame. So we are, like I mentioned before, inside of this chart channel. If we can break the 100 EMA on the 12-hour time frame, we got a good chance of really running to about 4182. So this is going to be a key level to break. It's going to be breaking that 100 EMA on the 12-hour time frame. So let's see how this week turns out. Let's see how today and tomorrow starts to look for Bitcoin. Hopefully we can start seeing some liquidity come back into the market, and we can start pushing above these higher time frame EMAs and see another nice 300-400 leg up run for Bitcoin. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Trade safe out there. We will have our Zoom session today at 5 p.m. Mountain Central Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.